Hello, my beautiful friend, and welcome back to another episode here on my Challenge Your Norm podcast, where today is the first episode of our New Year's goal setting, reflection, setting ourselves up for the utmost success for 2025. It is one of my favorite times of the year. I love setting goals throughout the entire year, but I feel like end of December, beginning of January, that's where I take like a full-on year audit and set up my intentions and new goals for the coming year. And I thought that to start off, I have 3 for sure planned podcasts that are going to be coming out throughout the next week. And who knows, maybe I'm going to come up with more. But the next 3 episodes are going to take you through a journey and give you a bunch of different tools and exercises that you can do to reflect on the year ahead, reflect on your life overall, and get really clear and focused, hone in on what it is that you want for your future. And today we're going to dive deep into reflecting on the past year, but not in a boring way. I know that may sound boring, but in a way where we can really use our past experiences and emotions and feelings and everything that we've gone through throughout 2024 or whenever you're listening to this to learn and explore and get excited for what we want to create moving forward for 2025. And I've gone through some things with my own life coach. I have an awesome life coach. I just signed up for a new life coach, which I'm really excited about. And I've gone through a bunch of different exercises with my own community. And some of the things I went through with them, we're going to go through today as well. And if you're new to my podcast, I run these challenges every month and I have a community where people do my workouts, use my nutritional guide and all of my recipes and my journaling challenges. And we have these weekly conversations. Actually, we chat every single day inside of our community tab, but every week we meet to have conversations. And some of the things that we're going to go through today, I've gone through with them as well. And in next week's podcast episode, we're actually going to dive deep into designing our dream reality and making it happen now. And I'll explain that obviously further in the next episode, but I've created this new journal for whoever decides to join my January Transformation Challenge that takes the individual through a journey and literally creates what they want their dream life to look like. And every single day, they go even deeper into every single aspect of those emotions, habits, and feelings, and entering that dream state, that dream reality here and now, which I'm really, really excited about. So that's going to be next week's episode. So if you're not subscribed, subscribe so that you can go through this journey with me. But for today, we are going to be reflecting on 2024. And I'm going to be asking you and sharing a bunch of different tools and questions and exercises. And you can either, pause this recording and every time after I've ask something, spoken about something, pause it and grab a journal and write things down. Or you can just let this me speaking run and have your own mind wander and potentially, allow it to wander for the next couple of days as you reflect on the past year and set your intentions for the new year. There's no right or wrong way to go about doing this.
Hi, my name is Pernilla, and this is my Challenge Your Norm podcast. I'm absolutely obsessed with anything related to personal development. And to grow, we got to challenge our norm. And so on this podcast, we chat about life and how we can challenge our normal way of living it to make it greater than we could have ever imagined. Just one little belief, habit, bold move, and challenge at a time.
What I would love for us all to start off with is going back in time. And you can go into depths with this, or you can just kind of give yourself an overview of the year. If you want to go into depth with this, something you can do is go through your calendar and look through every single month and look at what January looked like, all the experiences and things you went through there, February, March, and so on. You can also just go through the photos and videos on your phone. Just be reminded of all of the good and the maybe challenging things that you've gone through this year so that you get an overall sense of what 2024 looked like. Because I feel like the older we get, everything just kind of mushes together and it can be easy to just keep going, but forget what actually happened this year. And I think that just giving yourself a little bit of a just reminder of all the things that you've gone through this year is going to help you go even deeper into the questions and reflections that we're going to go through in this episode. And you may even want to grab your journal and just write out each month and write down some of the key things that you remember from every single month that happened this year to get a little bit more of an overview on that. And then one of the first questions, thoughts things I would love for you to ask yourself is, what was your greatest lesson this year? And maybe 10 lessons come up, maybe one really hardcore lesson comes up. Something that maybe you knew a little bit before, but you really, really learned this year. For me, for example, I have a few, but I'll share two with you. I have always, or not always, that's not true. I have for the past 5 years or so known that my intuition knows best. And that whenever I have chosen not to listen to my intuition, because oftentimes when our intuition is speaking to us, it makes no sense in the moment. And maybe we're emotionally attached to something, or we're just not ready for whatever it is that our intuition is either saying no or yes to. But I've known for many years that it always is right. But this year specifically, I was reminded big time that my intuition always knows best. And I may not want to hear what my stomach, my gut, whatever that thing is saying to me. But when something feels off, when something isn't feeling fully right, and my intuition is telling me something, it's always right. And I can choose to either listen to it here and now and take the hard lesson, make the hard call, make the challenging decision then and there, even though it makes no sense during that time when it tells me this thing. Or I can wait and I can listen to what my, let's say, feelings, emotions want to do. And if I do that, then, years can go by where nothing happens, but then suddenly it hits that my intuition was right. And I think it's kind of the same thing as when our intuition is telling us to do something, to go try something. We'll only know why it was that our intuition was telling us to go to that acting class, let's say, if we actually do it and fall through with all the things that maybe our intuition is continuously telling us to do when it comes to that acting thing. Maybe it was because in 5 years from now, from us having started that acting class, taking that acting class, we 5 years from today booked a movie role, which ended up changing our life. Or who knows, maybe we were meant to meet a person in that acting class that ended up being someone we were in a long-term relationship or built an incredible friendship with, who helped us transform our lives. You never know why it is our intuition is telling us something is or is not for us, but only if we listen to it will we understand it. However, sometimes if our intuition is saying something isn't right for us, if we just ignore it and we keep going with it, maybe down the line, we'll get our hands burned. It'll be clear why it was that our intuition was telling us why we shouldn't do that. So that's a lesson I've learned this year, that I can always trust my intuition. And another thing that I learned this year is just how meaningful the people in my life, like my near connection, and even like people who I maybe just see and hang out with here and there, but just how big of an influence it has on my life, my connections. I knew that before, but it's gotten really clear to me that it plays such a big impact in my life when I'm around people who I feel are giving me to the same degree that I hope to be giving them energy and joy and passion and love. So those were my big lessons this year. And your lessons may look completely different, but what did life teach you this year? And maybe you feel like nothing much has happened this year, but if that's the case, then did you learn that maybe you didn't follow your intuition or your curiosity to go try new things because you felt comfortable, and your lesson was that next year you want to get outside of your comfort zone, you want to challenge your norm because you want a different life, you want more for your life? What did life teach you this year? What was your greatest lesson of 2024? The next question is such a powerful one because it's what really impacts our life on like a daily basis. And this is one that my life coach also had asked me, which was, what has given you the most energy in 2024 and what has drained your energy the most in 2024? And something that I personally realized for my life was that the thing that has been my biggest goal for so many years has been to reach a certain level on my YouTube channel, as in a certain subscriber count. But it was also because YouTube just fulfilled me, and it still does. It's really powerful and fulfilling when I complete a project. But for many years, and this year especially, I realized that the way I'm going about it is so life draining for me because I make it so complex on myself. And I know that there is an easier way to do it. And until I find out what that is, I need to take a little break from it. And I could find out what that is, in a week from now. But YouTube has been the thing that has been the most draining for me. I spend so much time on it, and it is so hard for me to put together a full-on, movie. It was this year that I realized that I know why I haven't reached my goal within that yet. And it's because I'm not supposed to reach that goal with YouTube in the way I'm doing it, because that would not lead to a happy life for me. It's something that's just constantly bugging me in the back of my mind. And when I'm sitting with it, yes, it's fun, but it takes up all my time whenever I'm in the midst of creating a YouTube video. So I'm not able to do anything else because it's just so consuming, because it's hard, which I love hard. But I've just realized whenever I'm in a project for YouTube, it takes over my life. And there's seasons for everything. I've had seasons where it's been okay that's been the case, but thinking long term, thinking about my dream life, that's not how I live. So coming to that conclusion and realization that the thing that's been draining me the most is YouTube, and me then stepping back from it. Oh my goodness, I stepped back from it. I've created like one video in the last 4 months just because I had started like 5 different videos and then I just compiled all of them together. But it's been so freeing the last 4 months since realizing this, just kind of letting go of the systems, the ways in which I've done it. So I've decided to put it on the shelf for now, have other incredible focuses that excite me a lot. For example, this podcast, and just focusing on these other elements of my life that energize me. Because what does energize me, the question, if you are thinking in your mind of what it is for you for 2024, is what is the thing that strained you the most, and what's the thing that has given you the most energy? Or person, people, project, it can be anything. The thing that's energized me the most is when I make my short form videos. I love making my Reels, TikToks, shorts. This is one of the biggest things, if not the biggest thing of 2024 for me, is that I've gotten to build and become a part of this community, because it's something I've dreamt of for years, that one day I would love to have a community of like-minded individuals. And I have gotten to, throughout this year, I started in March with my first challenge, and then just run challenges every single month. And many individuals have just continued joining month after month. And the relationships we've built, the conversations we have, first of all, fulfill me, but experiencing their growth and how these tools that I've provided, whether it be the workout aspect or the nutrition aspect or the journaling aspect or just the community or whatever it is that it has led to, because as we know, when we grow in one area, it compound effects in all these other areas of our life. But getting to build a community like this and get to be a part of a community like this has energized me like crazy this year. So that's one of the things that it has energized me, making the short form videos, being a part of this community. I was so energized when we were traveling around all over. That was so energizing and incredible, until I then realized I kind of completed that for me at this moment. I don't know, maybe I'll want to go travel again and live the nomad life again. But for right now, I feel like I really checkmarked that off of my list. Not to say that I won't do it again at one point, but for right now, I have some incredible plans for my life in 2024, which I think we'll do a little bit of an update podcast episode at some point in the beginning of January as well, because I've been going through a lot of things the last 4 months that I would love to share my lessons from personally, like personal lessons that I haven't been ready to share till now. But now I want to make all these New Year's episodes. So we're going to be doing those first, and then we'll get into the other deep stuff. But having love in my life this year has energized me. But what has energized you, and what has drained you? What are those things? Because oftentimes, if we don't stop to think about what they are, we may know it subconsciously, but we never do anything about it because we haven't put it. We haven't clarified that this thing is the thing that's draining me, or this thing is the thing that's energizing me. But when we have that awareness, clarity on that, then we can do something about it. We can add more of the things that energize us, and we can push away the things that drain us. And I know that, for example, dance. I moved to the States to pursue dance, and I did that for many years. It was beautiful until it actually started draining me more than it brought me energy, where once it did bring me a lot of energy. But at one point it switched a little bit when I got so much passion for these other things that I'm doing. And I think a lot of the time we're not willing to accept it at first because potentially it's become a part of our identity. But if you have the awareness, you can slowly mature the thought, slowly question yourself on it and ask yourself deeper questions on it to really get clarity on what it is that you want for your life, because we shouldn't feel drained. We should do everything in our power to feel as energized as possible in our daily life. Of course, challenges are going to come around, but those are only going to make us stronger, especially if we have a habit of doing things that energize us. It's only going to be easier for us to move through those. So what is the thing that's strained you the most, and what's the thing that's given you the most energy? The next question is, what are the activities that have given you success, and what are the activities that have created the most problems? For me, I have had a tendency to stress myself out a lot if I didn't complete and finish my tasks that I wanted to do, where really, when I take a step back and breathe, I can see that it makes no sense, because as a person who has their own business, especially someone who has a lot of ideas constantly and wants to make all of them come true, it's a never-ending to-do list. I'm never going to be able to complete everything that I want, because there's always going to be able to be more to do. So it makes no sense to stress out about it. And I've gotten a lot better at this, but it's still something that makes no sense for me to do anymore. And the things that have helped me get success is doing the things that I love to do. Creating my short form videos, spending time with the people that I love, making time for that. Having my routines bring me so much joy and bring me success as well. So what are the habits and activities that bring the most success for you, and what are the things that bring you the most problems? And the last question that I want to ask you today is, how have you changed this year? What are the things you've learned? If you go back to January 2024, who were you at that time, and how have you changed since then? What are the things that have changed within you? Maybe in your external world, your relationships, how you feel about yourself. And then I hope that when you've come to awareness of that you give yourself some acknowledgement for it, for having shown up for yourself, for the people around you, and been willing to put in this growth. I know that if you're listening to Challenge Your Norm podcast, you're someone who potentially, most likely, is a high achiever that wants a lot for your life. And you're putting in a lot of effort and not always giving yourself acknowledgement for it. It's something I have been practicing a lot, and I will continue to practice, because high achievers, we tend to just go. And stopping at least once a year, but way more frequently, I would say you need to do that. I would say daily, but if you can do weekly, have a little Sunday check-in with yourself, or monthly, if that's all you can do for right now. Stop up and reflect on how you've grown, who you have gotten to become as you've gone through this journey, the ups and the downs. Because with this knowledge and with this acknowledgement, that's when we can set ourselves up for the future in the bestest of way. If we see how much we've actually done, we're going to believe and trust that whatever it is that we set our intentions, our goals for to be in 2025, that we can trust ourselves to show up. And if you feel like you can't, that's about building confidence, right? Confidence in the fact that when you say you're going to do something, you actually do it. And that's a whole other topic that we can dive deep into. And I've driven deep into previously on this podcast episode quite a lot, of how it's just about starting with the small little action steps. Set yourself a small little goal every day to make the bed. Okay, you made your bed every day for a week. You can't trust yourself. It's about proving to yourself that you can trust yourself. Confidence in yourself is built through proving to yourself that you can trust yourself when you say you're going to show up for these things. So all you have to do to rewire your brain and these beliefs about yourself is to little by little prove to yourself that you can. And for some people, it's about starting small and doing the make your bed. Okay, now I'm going to not eat sugar anymore after 8 p.m. every night. And once you've done that for a week and you continue to do it, you get really proud of yourself, and you start building this belief that you can really prove to yourself that when you say you're going to do something, you're actually going to do it. So saying that you can't ever stick to anything, I want you to completely turn that around down, because you're in charge of making sure from now on, when I say I'm going to do something, I am going to do something. And sometimes we need an accountability partner, or we need like something to keep us on track with that. So whether that's a friend, or it's if I don't do this, then I'm going to donate money to whatever it is, something that maybe you don't really feel passionate about donating all of your money to. Whatever it is that's going to make you feel accountable. Or maybe it's just like signing up for the race right now so that you're forced to go on that 5K run every day to prepare yourself for it, or marathon plan, whatever race you'd want to sign up for or do. But I went on a side tangent there. I hope that this reflection of 2024 helped you, and maybe you're going to want to go back and re-listen to these questions again, so that you can start to figure out what's working for you and what are the things that you want to change for 2025. And in next episode, which I'm going to literally turn off this camera and record right now because I'm so excited to record it, is all about designing your dream reality. We're also going to get into vision board creating and scripting and really dreaming big. Really, really, really widening our belief about what we can be and do in this life, because I don't believe there are any limits. But we have to be willing to put in the work. We have to be willing to work on rewiring our beliefs and what we believe is possible. So I'm madly excited about that. Oh, if you're not watching this on video, you didn't just see the disco lights happening in here, but it was a party. And now I hope you are about to have a party diving deep into these questions. And if you found it useful, please share it with a friend. I'm really trying to grow my podcast this year. That is one of my biggest goals for 2025. And if you want to get in the best shape of your life, I promise you that the January Transformation Challenge will help you do that. But it will not just get you in the best shape of your life, because yes, the workouts, the nutrition, the guidance, the conversations, I literally respond to every single question and have the most beautiful conversations with every single person that joins these challenges. It's not just going to get you in the best shape of your life, but it's also going to drastically shift your mentality, your mindset, which is going to impact your entire life. When you shift your belief about yourself in the way that we're going to be doing in this January Transformation Challenge, your whole experience of life changes. So if you feel called, please join us. I would be so freaking excited. I am so excited. A lot of people have already signed up, and oh my goodness, I'm so excited. So join us if you feel called. Subscribe if you haven't yet. Thank you so much for listening. And as always, remember that in order for you to grow, you have to challenge your norm. Bye.